Hi there, this is David Ingleby for Dingo Servo Mounts, and today we're looking at a three-way point and how to operate one with a standard red twin board. I also have a center off switch here, can flick to either side, and a power supply input for my 12 volt power supply. Before we get on to the actual control, let's have a quick look at the underneath of the board. Now, there is a slight problem that I found when I was putting these together, and that is that you have to put the mounts facing each other. When you do that, it's hard to get in to lock up the screws. So I thought I'd be clever and use these little magnetic clips on the pins there, so I wouldn't have to worry about getting a screwdriver in there, but to be quite honest, I don't think they're really up to the task, and I wouldn't recommend using them. I think you've got two options. One is to put one mount on, screw get the drive pin to the right height, screw it up, then mount the second unit, set up the screws just clipping, and then push the pin down to where you want it, then slacken off the mounting screws, move the thing away slightly just to be able to tighten the locker up again and then put it back in. Alternatively, you could offset one and use an offset pin, as I've done on one of my demo boards on shows. That's the mechanical side of things. As I said, for the purposes of this little demonstration, I'm quite happy to just use the magnet clips. It certainly holds together. That's the first part of it. Now, the next part of it is to draw up a truth table of what happens when the point is moved, and this is what I've done. So I have servo 1 at the top, servo 2 at the bottom, and for the straight, servo 1 needs to be left, servo 2 needs to be right. When it goes left, then both servos need to go to the left, and when it goes right, both servos need to go to the right. I tried to set this up without doing this, and it was an absolute disaster. But having done it this way, it works incredibly well. So let's see what it does in action. So I'll bring in some power here, put the power on, and you'll see that both lights on the board are on. My switch is center, the track is set so that it will run through straight. When I move the switch over to the left hand side, that servo operates and the track then moves across to the left. Go back to center and it then goes back to straight, and if I go that way, the servo operates and sends the train that way. And that's how simple it is, really. Like I said, it just takes a little bit of thinking out with your little truth table to make sure you set the points the right way. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on this one, this is a Peco OO three-way point, and one of the things that often comes up in conversations about these sort of things is what about frog switching, etc. Now, I haven't touched any of the wiring underneath this point. It's an electro frog point, and I have tested it through with my multimeter, and everything connects correctly the way it should. I would suspect that when you set it up, these points over here would need to have insulating frogs on them, at least insulating joiners, and then everything should be honky-dory. So you probably don't need to switch the frogs at all using this particular point. I can't guarantee it will be the same for every other point, but certainly for this one, that seems to be perfectly okay as it is without changing any of the wiring. One last thing is that people often ask me about taking out the springs in the points. I didn't take the springs out in these points, and I wish I had, because if you look closely, when it gets across, sometimes it gets to a point and then it sort of jumps over. You see that jump over there? and it's really not what we want. So yeah, that would certainly be better if the spring was taken out. And so there we have it, a 3-way point operated by a twins red servo board and 2 micro 10 servo mounts. This is David Ingleby for Dingo Servo Mounts, and thank you for watching.